Mr. Clancy Quinn. It's great to have you here today. I really appreciate you sharing some of your perspective with anybody that stumbles upon this video and is watching it. But I guess, if you don't mind starting off, what is your name and what are you currently working on? What do you do?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Adam. So my name is Clancy Quinn. I'm an account executive for a radiology technologies software company. Basically, we just work with radiologists on their workflow. And so I've been in sales for coming up on 10 years now. Adam was one of the first people that plucked me out of medical school, made me realize that there is life outside of being a doctor, and that that if I wanted to take a different path in life, that, sales was the way to go. So, I worked with him right at the beginning. He showed me the way, and, I'm here where I'm at due to ACT Consulting. So happy to be here.
Rock and roll, man. That's so nice to hear and awesome. And I guess, what was your professional experience like? You mentioned you were in med school, becoming a doctor, but I mean, what were you doing before we actually met?
So I was in medical school. I grew up thinking I wanted to be a doctor. I got into the profession and realized that that wasn't the career path that I wanted to go down. And so I had moved to New York, had no idea what I wanted to do. And people always told me, they're like, "Oh, Clancy, you're personable. You should get into sales." So I'm like, okay, that's an easy transition. So I met Adam. I met ACT Consulting, and I realized that being personable is such a small part of sales. And that's what he made me realize, was that sales is actually a repeatable, scalable process. It's an actual process that you need to dive into. And it's not just like, oh, I can talk with people. It's about like asking the right questions, about moving the conversation forward and pushing the client to the next stage of their buying process. And so it's this whole dynamic that I didn't even realize. And so kind of Adam showed me that. And so I was able to build an entire career on that.
And you're doing really well for yourself nowadays. So it's so great to see where you were, and where you are today, my friend. I mean,
Let's just say I paid those student loans off pretty quick. So
yes, love that. That is so cool. And I guess when working with ACT first, was there anything at all that kind of exceeded your expectations, especially coming from a more medical background, moving into something like sales? What were your expectations at first, and how did everything go?
Yeah, definitely. So like I was kind of mentioning before, I thought sales was just talking with people, kind of, just having conversations with them, and then they would just buy based on, my knowledge. I had good product knowledge because I did have that background in medicine, but sales is much more than that. And I think you kind of showed me that, like I said, it was this repeatable, scalable process. So it's about, I'll always remember this. I don't know if you remember this, Adam, but you told me one of the first, we would have strategy sessions almost every day. We would go on walks, 34th Street in Manhattan. And you said, "What do you think sales is, Clancy?" And, I was like, "Oh, it's just like talking, getting to know people, kind of understanding like what they're trying to buy, and then, throwing product knowledge at them until they like something resonated." And you're like, "That's part of it. But what sales really is, it's a game." And I'll always remember this quote: "It's a game of verbal chess." So you are going to ask questions,
You're absolutely right.
mental verbal chess, and you're going to ask questions that you maybe already know the answer to, but you're trying to move that customer to get them to think about the problems that they're having, to get them to think about how your product can solve those problems. So asking the right questions, verbal chess, and then you're able to position the different aspects of what you do to get them to understand like, oh, this can solve this problem, building a business case for them to realize that the ROI of your product. So it's a lot more than just being like, oh, I'm good at talking with people. It's more of, like I keep saying, like asking those right questions, discover the whole discovery process of building that business case, and then moving that conversation forward. So that was something that really resonated with me, and I've carried throughout my entire career. And I'm where I'm at right now because of that kind of understanding and, kind of what you've taught me. So.
Man, that's freaking awesome. And you're exactly right. Mental chess, the right questions, skilled questions, getting them thinking about their problems, but getting them to open up, and then having the next steps, like understanding what the buyer's journey is for a specific customer. And
100%.
again, driving them into that. Yeah, right. Like that's why you're thinking about how am I going to get to the king? Right.
Yes. Yep.
Man, I don't even know what else to ask, I guess, besides, any other sales guy looking to get involved with us, any other company that wanted to start working with Act First, like, if they were considering to work with us, is there anything that you would share with them that could help them make that decision one way or another a little bit more rapidly?
Definitely. I think so. I used to, and I keep kind of harping on this, I used to think that like, oh, it took a special kind of person to be a sales, or like I'm personable and I'm good at talking with people, so that means I'm going to be good at sales. And no, sales is a scalable process. It's a process that you define, and then you can scale it and repeat it. And so I've been ever since then, I'm on the side of things of being, anyone can be a salesperson. You can train anyone. And that's what Adam did with me. I had no sales experience. I literally just had, my personality and some medical knowledge. And Adam took that and turned it into like I said, a repeatable process, and really focused me down on, hey, here's the different steps in the buyer's journey. Here's the different step in the sales process. Here's how you build a funnel. And he really took that kind of, focus and energy I have, and really narrowed it down into, like I said, a repeatable, scalable process. And so if you're working with Act Consulting, I think that's what he does best, is you tell him what your product does, and who you're trying to help, what problems you're trying to solve, and he will turn it into a sales process. So I really think that that's what we're born to do, man. I really do. So I'm excited.
Oh, I got so much love for you, brother. And similar to you were a doctor and then going into sales and now making sick money, right? More than a normal physician by far, right? And I started off as an engineer and I moved into business, right? It's about reverse engineering the sales process and actually understanding who are the specific people that we're solving a specific problem for. And then how do we communicate that, right? And I just really appreciate the kind words. And I think something else I'd like to punctuate that you said, you're absolutely right. Anybody can do this, but you do need to be a smart person, and
Yes.
you have the desire to want to, right?
Yeah. I mean, and you have to be okay with rejection. It's sales. Like I did say, you could train anybody, but it isn't for everybody. There's going to be a lot of rejection. There's going to be but it's about, all right, on to the next one. Okay, that didn't work out. Let's do a postmortem and figure out what didn't work, what worked, and then try these new processes on the next one. And I think that's what Act Consulting does really well too. And what you taught me, Adam, was like, all right, that didn't work. Let's try this. And so pivoting, being able to quickly pivot is, I think a lot of sales teams get caught up in the process that they already have, and then they just try to steamroll it. And it's like what Adam does really well is pivot. So, and it's a very open conversation with him of like, I was fresh off the boat out of med school. Like he had no, if I worked with another company, they would have been like, what is this kid talk? Like, why is he telling me this? But Adam was like, oh, that's what you heard in the field, or that's what you're hearing. And he was like, let's try this. And so my ideas were validated on like real time like that. And so that being able to pivot, being able to try different things is the whole process of trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And I think that's what Adam does the best.
Clancy, really appreciate you and your kind words. And thanks so much. And congratulations, dude. You're killing it. I'm so proud of you, man. You've come so far. And I hope you have a great day, buddy. Thanks again.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Clancy. Bye.
Bud.